Today, we're going to be discussing on a very important topic, and I would like us to please pay attention and let us understand what we have today. Another misconception. Last 2 weeks, or last week, we discussed about abuse, and I talked about why we have the rise of abuse, because we are fighting each other. I mean, the male gender fighting the female gender, and the female gender blaming the male gender, vice versa, instead of us understanding the reason why there is high rate of abuse. And I told us it's because of our society, because of our upbringing, the environment our children find themselves in. And that is nothing but the truth. Most of those people that you see abusing is because of their upbringing. And I tell you something again. Abuse is not a gender thing. I was able to share some clips concerning abuse, even where women abuse men. And I told us that it's not only about physical abuse, we have emotional abuse like blackmail, we have psychological abuse. Some people, when they talk about abuse, they only think about the physical abuse. Well, I have also seen where women abuse men physically, and when they retaliate, it's more heavy. But that's not what we are going to be talking about today. But why I'm referencing on this point is because I'm still going to talk about childhood and child upbringing. I understand that bringing up a child is quite a challenging thing, not because I'm a parent, but because also I've been a child, and I wasn't all that good while growing up. And I always give credit to my parents for instilling discipline, some level of discipline when it comes to godliness, because that's actually what is affecting me today. That's also what is helping me today. The foundation they built for me, and also some of the mistakes they made as well affected me. Although presently I was able to turn the mistake into a message, and today I'm better off by the grace of God. It's not because of me, but by the decision I made and by the grace of God. Now, there's this trending going on, and that is why I decided to talk about it. I'm not really someone that talks about trending things, but when it concerns us, and concerns me as well, I try to speak about it during our misconception time, not really during the main blind facts. So during our misconception time, I try to speak about it, to talk about it in different angle that probably we may not have seen it. Try not to bring in sentiment. Try to talk about it logically, just the way I would think about it, and try to also reduce sometimes. I try as much as possible to reduce the spirituality about it, but humans are spirits. But that's not actually what we are talking about today. I didn't watch the trending video anyway, and I wouldn't have also watched it. Having known that such a content wasn't something positive, I didn't open up even those that were forwarded to some groups that I belong to. As of when it was trending, I made a decision not to open up those clips. There is this video I would like us to watch, and then I will come back to what I want us to discuss today. The reason I want us to watch this clip is because I may not agree with the beginning of the clip, but like I said, it's a decision. The man made a decision. The man is a comedy. I don't agree with the first part of the comedy, but it's the reality of things happening. But the end part of it, I totally agree with the end part of it, and I would like you to watch this clip with me before I tell us what I want to tell us today.
You know, I can't believe I'm going to see you today, baby.
Same here.
Well, let me ask one bad question. Should I ask?
Yes.
I don't know. Should I ask a question?
Go ahead and ask now.
Are we going to have sex? That means yes. Let me go and drink this thing. No, as in what I mean is let me go and prepare. Let me bath, spray perfume and all that stuff. I can't wait for you to come here today. See, I did it.
No problem. I'm all yours today.
That's what I'm saying now. I'm all yours too. So we are each other's yours. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Please, let me see. Let's end this because so that it will not be like I'm the one delaying you on the phone. Start coming. Start coming.
Problem.
You don't have anything to do at home now, eh?
No, at all.
Start coming. I'm waiting for you. God will bless you.
All right.
You will not see shame.
Okay, bye.
Alright. Today, Kwekukila no lie when I say I did it. Because he has my way, but still I fumble it after 1 minute. So I fumble it today. Like this. Because today will be a great day. Yes, who is that? Come in, the door is open.
Hi.
Oh, man. Who did you come with?
I came myself.
You came alone? Yeah. You are looking for who?
I came to see you.
Who is you? Who is you? Wait, what's your name?
Jennifer.
Jesus. You are Jennifer.
No problem.
Are you the same person I've been talking to on phone?
Yes, now.
What? You are the person I've been telling me I love you on phone.
Yes.
Sorry, you stand up, let me see. Jesus. How old are you? How old are you?
I'm 17.
Yeah, what?
I'm 17.
I can't hear you.
I'm 17.
I said it. Too many small children with phone. I said it. Problem will happen one day. So what are you doing here now? In your mind, you came to look for a man at 17.
Jesus is Lord.
Where is your mommy? You think I'm playing with you? Take that wig off, let me see. This getting complaint. Take your wig off, let me see. Secondary school girl. Oh! If you worry bad. Where is your mommy?
What are you asking?
You want me to slap you? You want me to slap you? Please, just answer me, okay? Where is your mommy?
She's at home.
I can't hear you.
She's at home.
Your mommy is at home. Does she know you are here? She knows. Your mommy is irresponsible. Where is your father? This getting her playing with her. You don't even know what is happening. Where is your father?
My father is at home.
Your father is at home.
Yes.
How old is your father? Your father is what? Your father is what? 42. I'm 42.
Jesus is Lord.
I'm 42. I'm dating my age mate daughter that is 17 years old. I'm telling her I love her on the phone. But what month was your father born? Please.
September.
What?
September.
Your father was born September, I was born October. So your father can never see them up to 1 month.
Child.
Call your mother on the phone.
Eh?
Call your mommy before I slap. I said, call your mommy.
Ah.
Call your mother. You say this thing. You think I'm here playing with you? You want me to bring bed? You don't want me to bring bed? Call your mother. Your mother, the mama reborn. You call your mother on the phone.
Aka ya. Aka Giovanni Minna. Okay, my phone is ringing. What is this? Number. Chidamma.
It's how you leave children. You'll be roaming about before you know. They will want to do ritual. 17 years old that you'll be looking for exam is looking for a man.
Hello, mommy.
Hello? Hello, Chidamma. Why? What is happening?
Give me the phone. Give me the phone.
Hey! I hear me to me, but me.
Hello, madam. No, don't say good evening, please. Don't say good. There's a problem now. Yeah, guys, button your shirt first. Button that shirt fast. Just button it. I don't want to be angry. Madam, where is your daughter? The Jennifer, the 17-year-old.
My daughter. Okay, I just came from the market and they said they follow her friend to cafe. She go to cafe with her friend. I don't know.
Okay, you have the many. That's why you but not value this one.
She go to cafe with her friend.
She told you she's going to visit her friend. And you allowed her. Okay. The friend that she has come to visit is a 42-year-old man.
Eh, Kuzina, Jesus!
Yes, who does not indulge in nonsense. Okay? So I'm going to send your daughter to the house now and tell your husband that if you people cannot give birth to children you can train, don't even born them at all. Alright? Your daughter should not have a reason to have a phone because she don't have sense like this.
Thank you. Brother, thank you, sir. Oh.
Yes, she don't have sense. So I'm sending her back to the house now.
So from what you just watched, you also notice that this man was displeased. Like I said earlier, I'm not in agreement with what he did initially, calling someone on the phone and the first request was sex. But there's something I want us to pick out from this clip. And that thing is this. Not many men will do this. Not many men will do this. Many will actually go ahead. And now this lady or this little girl is a minor. But no one would think, remember the man said he's 42, the same age mate with the father of the girl. But many won't think about that. All they want to do is to satisfy their sexual urges. Now, I also want you to if you remember from what you watched, the woman was unaware of where the child went to. Now, I'm not blaming the woman in this case. From what we watched, why I say so is because I was once 17, I was once 15, I was once 16. Not everywhere I went to that my parents followed me. Not everything I did while I was a young boy that my parents were aware of. But one thing I know is they never spared the rod. They never spared correction. Those who know or who used to know me those days, we attest to that. They never spared the rod. They never spared correcting me. And I tell you, all those correction, all those not sparing the rod, helped shaped me. I'm not saying that it's everything that you don't spare the rod. I'm not saying no. What I'm saying is that you don't allow civilization. Why we have problem today in our society is because of the failure of the family system. Many people have been judging the school, the trending case about a little girl who was having sex in Dubai in a school, in their school excursion or whatever competition they went for in Dubai. And many people were blaming the school. School never did that. But I tell you something, I blame the school 5%. The 95% goes to the woman who even tried manipulating us by manipulating those they want to, or she wants to manipulate, not people like me. Because she went online wearing buba and trying to look modest. Meanwhile, this woman allowed my son have a page, and I control the page, not my son. But this woman, I'm not saying that your child shouldn't have a page or you should. I have a purpose why I created the page for my son. I have a purpose. And this woman allowed her daughter to have a page because from the look of the woman, you will know that she is wise in terms of things happening around. This woman allowed the daughter to have a page, even have a Twitter account where she mess up her life, practice even lesbianism, does a lot of things. And this woman allows the daughter to operate such a page. The woman will not tell me that she is ignorant of it. If she's claiming she is ignorant of the daughter having a page, then she's even more stupid than I ever thought. Now, throwing up the scripture says, like I said, I try to avoid bringing in the scripture because I know that some people who don't believe in the Bible want me to, speak with things happening around them. And that is what I'm trying to do. But I want to give a reference, make a reference of what the scripture says. The Bible said, training up a child in the way that he should go, so that when he is old, he will never depart from it. So many of the decadence we see in our society today is as a result of the failure of the family system, the failure of parenthood. So many people don't understand the importance of a man and a woman training up a child. So single parenthood is being celebrated today. They don't know the importance of a man in a child's life because a man brings about discipline most of the time. When a child can't listen to the mother, the child will listen to the father. When he or she wants to discipline him or her. And that is why family system, home system is very, very important. It affects the kid. Now look at a situation where you allow your kid to do whatever he or she wants. You buy the most expensive phone, most expensive iPhone gadget just to feel belong. You buy such for your daughter, and your daughter can go into the net, listen to things he or she is not supposed to. Your daughter or son, I'm sorry, I'm laying emphasis on daughters, but it's not supposed to be. Daughters and sons, you should be able to know what they are doing. Sometimes, even though my son watched a lot of cartoons, I also had to take up the tablet, locked Disney, locked it on my television set, locked it on his system. Why? Because I don't want him to watch Disney. Someone will ask me why, and I will tell the person, having been able to read news, understand what is going on there in this period of wokeism, I won't want to expose any of my children to such things that early. At least now I have control of some things. Let me be able to say what they do. Let me be able to determine what they're able to do. Now, some people will tell you, not trying to live the life of your children for them is an abuse. That is wokeism. That is a lie from the pit of hell. Today I was discussing with a colleague of mine, and then I told her, I was discussing with a colleague of mine, I told her that I was not happy with the way these people are sexualizing our children, even at the young age of 4. And she saw nothing wrong with it. She saw nothing wrong with it. She saw nothing wrong teaching my children, teaching the kids about how they can change their gender. She saw nothing wrong with it. And that is the kind of society we are in. Anyone can do, and you know, this is the Western world culture for you, and we are suffering it. One problem about our people is that they copy the wrong things that the Western world are doing and leave the good ones in terms of development. I tell you, civilization is not about allowing your kid to misbehave. There are some values we have, even people here, they love it. Someone said that he loved the way a child greets him. And this was a white person or an European commending the way a black child always greets him. Even though he's European, he understands respect. Although they've lost it, that we are in a country, or we are in a Western world where a child of 6 will look at an adult old enough to be his or her grandfather and say, "Oh, hello, Mr. Grace. Hello, Grace. How are you?" And then the Grace will say, "I'm fine. How are you too?" "I'm fine. Grace, give me some time. I need to do some stuff. You can sit down. If you don't have time, you can go." They don't have that. Respect culture has gone, and that is what our people are copying. Where you dress up your daughters like prostitutes. You know, those days when we were growing up, you see a child, you see even a grown-up girl dressed indecently, I'll put it that way. The parents will not allow such thing in their house, but not today. Today, the parents are the one buying such clothes for their children. I saw a picture of someone, I don't want to mention her name, with her daughter. And her daughter was wearing a cloth. And her daughter, from the picture, or from what they said in the comment section, the daughter is 13. But she was already exposing her breast. The video we watched earlier, the comedy we watched earlier, when men who are loose see such people or see such a girl, they won't mind if she's 12, they won't mind if she's 13. They will lay with her. Why? Because you have aided in destroying such a girl or such a child. And your boy child, you don't care where he goes or what he does. Now everybody is talking about the girl, but nobody is talking about the boys involved in this. Nobody is talking about them. This is as a result of the decadence. This is as a result of irresponsible parents that we have in these days, in this generation. Woke parents. Parents who are not worthy to be called parents. They can allow anything. They can permit anything. Their daughter and their sons can do whatever they want to do. No correction. You know, parents are supposed to, correct their words. Even where they made mistakes, they won't want their children to make such mistakes again. But in this generation, you see children dancing to songs that are immoral, songs that exposes them. You know, this trending video has, opened up so many things. People are now sharing some nonsense. You see children smoking. Here, kids smoke. And it's not good. It's not. In fact, let me tell you something. Me and my wife, before we had our son, we used to live somewhere where children smoke. Young children. You see them, we used to live in a block of flats. So they come into that block of flats, and they will be smoking. Nobody talks to them. If you talk to them, they will insult you. You will hate your life. It's not like in Africa where, even in Africa, we are imbibing this culture of, it's my child. Nobody should correct my child. So me and my wife, we had to make a decision. And what was that decision? That we must leave that environment. It was not good. It was not good for our future son. We had to add more money to relocate to another place. Another place where I'm not saying that that place is not, exposed to danger, but at least it is minimal compared to where we were living before. These are things as parents you consider. These are things you and your partner, you sit down, you discuss it over. Is this environment okay for our children? If it is not okay, then we need to leave. What are the things we need to discuss with the children? What are the movies the children need to watch with us? What are the movies they shouldn't watch with us? What are the discussions we should hold or we should have in their presence? And what are those discussions we shouldn't have in their presence? As responsible parents, these are things you should know. These are things you should discuss. If you don't do that, that child will grow up to be a nuisance in the society, just like we in this case. In fact, I saw a tweet by the said girl saying that they've seized her phone, that people are just talking about what happened as if it's their business. That is not the fault of the school. It is the fault of the mother, who even came up on social media trying to manipulate those she can manipulate. As a matter of fact, when we are discussing about this should be teaching us lessons. They always say, what a child that will spoil, a child that will get spoiled will get spoiled. But I tell you that there are things you expose the child to, it will hasten the child being spoiled. There are also things you will not expose the child to, it will also rescue such a child. It will also rescue such a child. When I was growing up during the time of Nigerian movies or even foreign movies, when we used to watch such movies on telly, black and white telly, that we'll get to some scenes. The adults among us will ask us to go out. The adults. Those scenes are not as crude as the scenes we see today in movies. It may even be a scene of pecking, but we'll be asked to leave that place. Why? Because the adults, not just the parents, the adults were responsible enough to know that our minds weren't mature enough to understand what is happening. Even my little son came to me one day when my wife was pregnant and asked me how the baby got into the mother's stomach. My little boy. Although the boy he thinks deep. I had to sit him down. I knew that something, if I don't tell him how it happened or how it happens, he may learn it the wrong way. And I said to him, son, he answered, listen to me. When you grow up like daddy, you will have your own child. That will be the right time. And if you don't grow up like daddy, and you try to do things that will bring in a child into this world, it is foolishness. Do you hear me? He said yes. Because he asked me that question, I had to answer him. I didn't say, go. Don't. I just called him and sat him down. The baby in your mother's stomach was put in there because I am grown up. And for you to get to my stage, there are things you need to do. And if you give birth to a child before you grow up, it is foolishness. He may not understand everything I said, but at least I have planted a seed that someone else may have given him the wrong answer. There are things we shouldn't expose our children to. There are things we shouldn't allow other people to teach our children. That things like movies, things like books, we should be able. It's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not even easy trying to run around for my own son. I know it's not easy, but when you have that consciousness that these are things that are not allowed. The other time I was discussing with the mother, my son was on the staircase trying to hear what we were discussing. I came downstairs and I disciplined him. And when I disciplined him, I told him, you don't listen to mommy and daddy when they are discussing. You don't. You don't try to unless you are invited. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. These are children are children, yes. But we must shape them. Train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will never depart from it. If you allow the wokeism in the environment today, and some people will call it civilization, I call it stupidity, because you pick up the good, you pick up the bad ones and throw away the good ones. Train up your child. Your child is your asset. It is our culture to train up our children. Not like where, in the Western world, what they do is to feed their children, allow their child to do whatever, say some words. No. We groom our children. In fact, so many of us are turned out to be good today. It's as a result of the training our parents gave to us. Not as a result of giving us the society. No, it is as a result of the training. Sometimes we come out in the society, our society will tell us another thing. But because our parents will tell us a different thing, they were planting seeds in us. They were planting seeds in us. What kind of seed are you sowing in the life of your son? What kind of seed are you sowing in the life of your daughter? When someone disciplines or corrects your child, do you flame up and start screaming, why are you talking to my son like that? When someone comes, let me tell you something that happened many years ago when I was in college. Someone actually reported me to my mom that she saw me smoking weed. I've never smoked weed in my life. Never. I've been into so many lives that were not good. But never smoking of weed, never drinking, never womanizing, never killing. So someone reported me, said that she saw me smoking weed. My mom is still alive. If she watched this video, she will laugh. She will remember. Saying that she saw me smoking weed. And then my mom didn't shout at her, oh, you saw me, it's not my son, it's not my son. No. My mom actually came, my mom did the wrong thing at the point, because when she came, she would have asked maybe the principal of the school to find out what was wrong or what is going on. But no, she came immediately, she saw me, she gave me a very dirty slap. Till today, I always tell my mom that was the wrong move. You should have asked, you should have probed, you should have asked the principal, the teachers, if actually I'm involved in such a thing, and I'll be called to, to query me over such things. But as African parents, the first reflex reaction was to give me a very dirty slap, which even today I always say, Mommy, that was the wrong thing you did. And anyway, parenting is something we learn, right? I don't blame her, I don't hate her for that. That was her reflex action. But I said this. That slap as well made me understand the kind of hell I would be in if I ever get caught smoking. I never smoked cigarette, Indian hemp, alcohol. Not because I was not at a point a bad boy. Not because I was not at the point playing tricks, pranks, and children play. No. But because of the foundation of my parents. Get it? Because of the foundation of my parents, I knew that was a no. I could fight. I was really 1 week, one trouble. I could fight every week. In fact, I could fight. I could engage in trouble. that involve fighting or vagabondism, or if there is a word like that. But one thing I never did was to smoke. I knew it was a no-no. I never saw my father smoking. In fact, I knew even as a kid then that if my father ever sees me smoking, I am finished. I knew as young as I was, if my parents see me drinking alcohol, I am finished. Now, not only would they beat me, my father actually called me, told me the repercussions of smoking, told me the repercussions of drinking. He didn't tell me twice, he told me once. He called me one day in the midnight, sat me down after reading series of scriptures, told me the wrongs in smoking, told me the wrongs in drinking. He started telling me that when he noticed that we were these neighbors of ours who engaged in smoking of weed and also planting of weed. He called me, knowing fully well that if he doesn't do that, if I go out there, those people may corrupt me. He sat me down. He started feeding me with why I shouldn't engage in such a thing. He started feeding me, telling me, what's the need of smoking? He asked me a question. That was a question he asked me. Why do you think people smoke? I said to him that I really don't know why people smoke. He said, good. He took me somewhere to see how people that smoke behave. And he asked me a question, do you want to be like these people? Of course no. He said they are being controlled by what they smoke. Do you want to be like them? I said no. One day he also took me to where they drink alcohol. I asked my father, why are these people? Okay, he took me to a place, a place where my relatives were living then. And then there was this man who was misbehaving. And I asked him, Daddy, why is this man misbehaving like this? He said, okay, he will talk to me in the night. At night, around 11, 12, that is usually the time my father always chooses to speak to us. I don't know why. He called me and he started telling me what caused that man to misbehave, to say the things he was saying. And he said to me, it's because of the alcohol he takes. So it gives false sense of accomplishment. It makes him think that he has achieved those things he was saying that he has achieved. It makes him think that he owns everybody. That was why he was behaving the way he was behaving. And then he asked me, do you want to be like them? And I said, no. My father has never flogged me because I smoked, because I never did. He never flogged me because I womanized, because he never saw me do that. He never flogged me because I'm not saying I'm a good guy, no. Like I said earlier, I wasn't a good guy at a point in my life. At a point in my life, I allowed youthful exuberance to take me away. But the foundation my parents built for me helped me to retrace my steps. What foundation are you building for your kids? Even if your parents didn't build those foundations for you, try as much as possible to build it for your children. At least you've done your own part in praying for them. You've done your own part in telling them what they shouldn't do. Another thing is this, when a father is disciplining a child, it is foolishness for a mother to counter that discipline. It's not wise. Reason is because you are planting, the mother will be planting hate towards the father. Vice versa. When a father is disciplining a child, it is wrong. When a mother is disciplining a child as well, it is wrong for the father to interfere. My wife used to tell me that anytime the father is disciplining them, the mother joins. Anytime the mother is disciplining them, the father joins. They agree together. They may discuss privately, not in front of that child. It is totally wrong. You know, parents, I don't know why they do this. Most parents do this. I don't know why they do it. But I tell you, stupidity. I don't know whether to win favor. Because I tell you something. Most times, women do that. Most times. You can't claim to love the child more than the father loves the child. You can't claim to do that. If that child belongs to both of you must understand the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to make sure that this child we gave birth to, we brought to this world, that God has handed over to us in our custody to train. The big picture is for us to make sure that the child is responsible, the child is decent. So whenever you see the other party correcting, join in correcting, or better still, don't say anything. Avoid, try as much as possible to avoid the temptation of saying it's okay now. Try as much as possible. You can say that in private, but try as much as possible. Avoid saying it, in public, or fighting your partner because your partner was disciplining the child. If your partner maybe goes beyond the discipline when it goes into, something not cool, you can call your partner. Can we see? Now, dear, can we see? Can we talk about this? Can we talk about this? And you don't just, leave it that way. You may say, okay, you stand there. You are being naughty. Let me speak with your father and let's see what we are going to do with you. You can take your father, your husband away from the presence of that child, and discuss with him. Or you take your wife away from that child at that moment and discuss with her. So that the child will not say, oh, my mother is... so many people, I've witnessed it, I've seen a lady, who even had to leave the husband, married another person, left the husband, the lady left the husband and went to another man's house to stay. And started, even took the child away to the man's house. Not because she was beaten, but because she had the support of the mother, even when the father was against it. We must be very, very, very careful. We must be very, very careful. What words do you use in the presence of your children? What actions do you take in the presence of your children? What words, what actions do you take? We must be careful. What do you allow your children? It's not everything your child wants you give to the child. My son would tell me the other time, he said, Daddy, right, I want ice cream. You don't need ice cream. You should be able to differentiate between wants and needs. I told my wife one day, see, this boy, my wife wanted to buy something from my son, and I said, no, you're not buying it. So why now? But I said, you are not buying it. I didn't do that because I hate my son. It's because I didn't want to expose him to nonsense. I didn't want to expose him to nonsense. I still have that authority to do that. I didn't want to expose him to nonsense. And you also will not look at what people will say and not correct your child. One day, when my son was still about 2 years plus, we went shopping. So my son saw this pink, beautiful, feminine looking toy. My son grabbed it, said, Daddy, I want. And I bent down and I said to him, it's lovely, isn't it? He nodded. And I said, it's not for people like you. I will show you the one for you. It's not for people like you. It's for girls. It's designed for girls. I said it in public, even knowing fully well the kind of place I was in. And one woman, who it was none of her business to interfere, said to me, the child has the right to choose whatever he wants to choose. And I said to the woman, the child you are referring to isn't your child, but my child. The child you are referring to is not your child. You have no authority. You are not the one feeding the child, but my child. She left. And I was ready to engage her because she was being naughty. Because of the environment I found myself in, I tried to avoid all those stuff. I know I may not do much because he will still go out there and see things, but at least he will know the difference between good and bad. I must tell him. Then I will leave it for God and him to make decisions. But I must tell him the right things. And the ones I won't tolerate, I will tell him this one, no go area. No go area. The ones that needs us talking it over, we must talk it over. Train up a child in the way he should go, so that when he is old, he will not depart from it. The nonsense we are seeing in our society is as a result of the mess. As a result of the mess of the home, where we leave our children to do whatever they want to do. There was this guy, I visited him. He said to me that the boyfriend of the daughter and the girlfriend, the daughter and the boyfriend are inside, that we should stay outside so that we will not disturb them. That is the kind of things even in Africa we are copying now. Imagine. And when the daughter came out, the daughter was about very young. I don't think the daughter was even up to 18 years. With the boyfriend that is also not up to 18 years. Two minors. What? At least your children should, of course, you can't give what you don't have. When you don't have the positive mindset, the right things, you can't give it. Today, I want you to understand that civilization shouldn't lead you to stupidity. Don't allow the wokeism of this world allow you to be used by the enemy to destroy the future by destroying your children. So many people have raped their children but blame others for raping them. May God help us. Listen to my another misconception on YouTube if you want to know my opinion on abuse, on domestic abuse. You can listen to it. I think it's on Blind Fat. So it's on Blind Fat channel on YouTube. The title is Abuse in Relationships. So go to Blind Fat channel on YouTube and then search for it. It's all about our children. It all boils down to how we bring up our children. And God will help us and give us the grace to train our children aright, tell them the right things we need to tell them, work together with our partners to make sure that our children don't become a nuisance in the society. In the mighty name of Jesus. Thank you for being part of today's teaching. Like I said, I'll be coming to us. I'll try as much as possible to be coming weekly. If I don't come weekly, just subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is Blind Fat channel, so that you don't miss any series of Blind Fat and another misconception, because it will be airing there as well. God bless you, and may our kids not put us to shame. Bye.